It was already dark. I was crawling up the stairs to my front door of my house. And I knew three things. Number one, it was past midnight. Number two, I was drunk. And number three, I knew that my first wife had just dropped me off the house and that my second wife was inside the house asleep. More on that in a second. I want to introduce you to my best friend, my lifelong best friend. His name, you'd never forget it if you met him. His name is Luke, and I'm not joking, Love. Luke Love. He is a 6'6" Oklahoman. When you see him, you never forget him. And when you hear his name, and this interaction happens to him all the time, someone says, "Is that your real name?" And he's like, "Yes, ma'am, it is." And then that person says, leans in close and says, "Anyone ever tell you that sounds like a porn star's name?" And Luke's the kind of guy that can make that social interaction work with anyone. It's not creepy or weird. It's just funny. And he slaps the person's back and they're best friends instantly. I cannot do this type of small talk. But he can. You never forget him. I met him on my very first day of college. He's a giant. He's 6'6". I'm very average in every way. I saw him, and we became close friends. And then he met a girl, and I didn't see him for 4 years. But that's how he is. He's very relational. He goes with the flow. Luke's a party. He dated this girl for 4 years, and I went and got involved in student government and Greek life and so many things. I was the poster child for my college, so much so that I had a near nervous breakdown my senior year. We realigned, befriended again, and when we were graduating, we said, "Hey, let's live together post-graduation." So we graduated on a Saturday, we moved into a new apartment on a Sunday, and we started new jobs on a Monday. We both worked from home. I worked for, this is the early 2000s, a .com tech company. I'm very ambitious. I'm a rule follower. I want to make something. I'm going to do great work. He worked for a company that did background checks for government security clearances. His entire job was driving around Los Angeles talking to strangers about whether or not they told the truth or lied on their application for a security clearance, and he loved it. We both worked from home, and I was very organized, very neat. He's very messy. We're different in every way. He's very tall, I'm very short. I've mentioned that 4 times. I'm not salty about it. His way of living is so different than mine. He's the kind of guy that if he sits next to you on a plane, he doesn't even have headphones because he knows you're going to be best friends by the end of the flight. My headphones are on instantly because I want nothing to do with you. We're very different. We worked from home before the pandemic, before it was cool/mandated to work from home. We worked from home, and I always was very serious about my job. I was being paid money for the first time to do a job. This is serious work, Luke. And he's like, "Hey, how about we ditch work and go to the pool? Hey, why don't we go shoot hoops? Why don't we just take the day off and go explore Los Angeles as 22-year-olds? And he always wore me down. He always wore me down. That's the best part of someone like this in your life. They wear you down to go do fun stuff, right? One of my best friends. He grew up, a free-range childhood in Oklahoma where rules are meant to be broken. And I grew up where rules were meant to be followed. I never saw a PG-13 movie until I was 13. You know that point in elementary school when you hear 4-letter words for the first time, you realize that swearing exists? Well, I wanted to say those words, but I knew I couldn't because God might hear me, or worse, my mom. And so instead of saying those words, I followed the rules. I put an R into all those words. So I said things like shrit, and dram, and preenus. All the swear words. I never had a drink of alcohol until I was 21 years old. Crazy, right? Actually, you know what? I'm so much of a rule follower, even that's a lie. In college, I went overseas to Germany where the drinking age's less, and I had a beer there. And then when I came back to the United States, I wasn't 21 yet, so I didn't drink until I was 21. I loved rules. Rules were what helped me understand your standing in life and with each other. If you were on the right side of rules, you're on the right side of life. And that's what I brought to our relationship with Luke. And I do say relationship because we now, even today, call ourselves each other our first wives. Because I moved out when he got married, and now he's married, has 2 kids. I got married, I have 3 kids. But there was this one day, like 10 years ago, Luke calls me up and he's like, hey, I'm in town, Lakers are in the playoffs, let's go hit a bar and have a meal and hang out. And I was like, I was kind of busy. I was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to drink tonight. No. And he, like he does, wore me down. And so I met him at this bar and we had a huge meal. And he had 2 beers and I had 2 beers. Now, the thing about Luke is he's 6'6", but he probably also outweighs me by 150 pounds. And because I didn't know about drinking, because I didn't drink until I was 21, I didn't know that people that weigh 2 different sizes shouldn't drink at the same pace. But I'm also ambitious and very competitive, so I kept up with him all night. He drank 2 beers, I drank 2 beers. He had a whiskey shot, I had a whiskey shot. All night. We went to the second bar, we drank some more. We went to the third bar, it was approaching midnight. I knew I had had too much, but then a street team came in. You know what a street team is? People that come in with like a backpack with free samples and they give you free samples. These 2 girls came in. And they had Fireball whiskey shots, the prepackaged, the reddest liquid you've ever seen in your life. And he's like, we should take one of those. And I was like, we should not take one of those. He's like, you're definitely going to take one of those. And I took 2 of those. So we walked back to my house. They dropped me off. I went upstairs. And I knew I'd broken the rules. I got too drunk. It was too irresponsible. And I was embarrassed for myself. So I opened the door very quietly. I snuck in and all the lights are off. We have 1 bedroom, 1 bath. And I go into the bathroom, I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm ashamed of myself. Like I had broken this unwritten commitment between me and my new wife. I got too drunk, and Luke made me do it. I felt sick. I felt literally sick, and so I felt I was going to throw up. And I did. I threw up a little bit in the toilet. I was very discreet, very quiet. Cleaned it up. I turned the lights off. And I went around the corner to the bedroom. My wife is still asleep. I got in bed. She leans over and says, are you okay? And I said, yeah. I threw up a little bit, but I cleaned it up. It's fine. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Just instantly falls back asleep. Now, the thing I'm about to say, I don't want you to know this because I care about how you feel about me. My wife was 8.5 months pregnant at this moment. And if you know about pregnancy, I didn't, this was our first child, you get up to go to the bathroom like every 20 minutes, like 47 times a night. And so I woke up in the early morning to my wife's blood-curdling scream. And I got out of bed, and I didn't know what was happening. I staggered around the corner into the bathroom to witness what I can only describe as a crime scene. I hadn't missed a little bit. I had thrown up top to bottom, east to west, on the mirror, on the bathtub, on the cupboard. It was everywhere. It was like a Jackson Pollock painting. Little bits of red everywhere. The whiskey shots everywhere. It was so disgusting. And I grab a towel. I'm so embarrassed. I grab a towel and I go to clean it up. And it is like taking a cup to pull water off the Titanic. It's like too little, too late. And I'm so weak, I fall on the floor. And I can't even finish cleaning it up. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but I know now that not only was I too drunk, but I also had food poisoning from that meal we shared a couple of hours prior. I couldn't even stand up. And my wife, 8.5 months pregnant, picks me up off the ground, walks me to the bed, puts me to bed, and cleans it all up. I don't deserve this, right? It's so incredible. Things like that, to my friend Luke, he would just like talk about it or be relational. Those things, I can't talk about it. Something in me says, ooh, I'm so embarrassed. And it rattles around in my head for weeks. And my wife, to her great credit, she's incredible, never brought it up, never blamed me, never made fun of me, just handled it like a champ. like an 8.5-month pregnant champ. And so I was recanting the story to my friend Luke a week later, and I described it a lot like I did to you tonight. I said, this happened, I made a joke about it, and I called it a crime scene, and we laughed about it. He's like, why do you call it a crime scene? I was like, well, it's kind of funny. And I was like, if it's a crime scene, are you calling yourself a criminal? And I was like, I guess I am. I said, because I wronged her. I mean, she's 8.5 months pregnant. I shouldn't have been out with you drinking. I should have been responsible. That baby could have come tonight. And he said, man, when are you going to learn that love just isn't about following the rules and being on the right side of the law? It's about understanding someone else when they have broken a rule and when they've wronged you. And for me, the thing that took me even longer to learn, it's allowing someone else to love you when you're wrong, when you've broken the rules, and allowing someone to come in and pick you up off the floor. So I learned about love through that experience. I'm just glad that I have not one, but 2 wives to teach me.